The oil rigs roar in the distance. The Texas sun burns low. And just when the dust begins to settle, he walks in. The voice, the legend, the man who defined every Western hero we ever loved, Sam Elliott, has joined Landman Season 2. But this isn't just another casting update. No, this is a storm about to hit Tommy's world like a wildfire. Because Sam Elliott isn't here to play a stranger. He's here to play Tommy's father. The man who left, the man who built the land before it became a battlefield of oil and greed. And now he's back. And everything is about to change. The news dropped quietly, but the impact was massive. Sam Elliott joins Landman Season 2. Within hours, social media exploded. Clips of his old westerns, fan edits of 1883, and bold captions, "The legend returns." But what most fans didn't expect was who he would be playing. Not a powerful oil tycoon, not a drifter or a villain, but Tommy's father, the one name that had been whispered through the show's first season but never seen. Tommy, the young, ruthless, and driven oilman, has built his empire with grit and fire. He's fought for every deal, every drop of oil, every bit of respect he could claw from the world. But deep down, every fan could see it. Tommy wasn't just fighting for power, he was fighting for something missing, something broken, the approval of a father who wasn't there. And that's where Sam Elliott's entry hits like thunder. His arrival changes not just the story. It shifts the entire emotional ground of the series. His voice, that gravelly tone that can cut through silence, brings a weight that only a man like him can carry. When you imagine him stepping out of a dusty pickup truck, boots hitting the ground, eyes sharp with both pride and regret, you feel the tension before he even says a word. The announcement didn't come with many details. Paramount kept it simple. Sam Elliott joins Landman Season 2 in a major recurring role. But for fans who followed the show closely, that single line spoke volumes. A major recurring role meant this wasn't just a cameo or a nostalgic nod. This was central to the story. In many ways, Sam's casting feels poetic. He spent decades portraying the men who shaped America's frontier. Tough, silent, full of quiet honor. And now in Landman, he's returning to that same kind of story. But in a modern world, one filled not with horses and revolvers, but pipelines and power contracts. Yet the themes remain the same: loyalty, land, and legacy. Imagine Tommy facing the man who left him behind, now older, wiser, maybe even remorseful. The kind of father who doesn't need to yell. His silence says enough. The kind of father who's seen the cost of ambition and carries it in every wrinkle on his face. That's Sam Elliott's world. And the beauty of it is, his presence doesn't just add a new character, it brings history. It makes Landman bigger, deeper, and more human. Fans aren't just waiting to see what happens next. They're waiting to see what this reunion means. Because when a man like Sam Elliott joins the story, it's never just about acting. It's about legacy meeting destiny. The ground in Landman doesn't just hold oil. It holds secrets, blood, and ambition buried deep under Texas soil. Every inch of land is fought over like gold. Every handshake hides a deal, and every smile masks a threat. This isn't the Old West anymore, but the rules haven't changed much. Men still fight for control. Families still fall apart for fortune. And loyalty still has a price tag. Landman is not just another drama about oil. It's a mirror reflecting modern America. A story about how far people will go to build an empire, and how easily it can all collapse. It's a world where power drills deeper than friendship, and the only thing thicker than crude oil is pride. The landscapes are wide and open, but the hearts of its characters are heavy, full of shadows and regret. At the center of it all stands Tommy Norris, a man who built his empire with dirty hands and clean lies. He's ambitious, sharp, and willing to burn bridges if it gets him one step closer to the top. But the more he gains, the emptier he becomes. He looks like a man who has everything, yet the silence in his eyes says otherwise. There's something missing. Something no amount of oil or money can fill. That's the brilliance of Landman. Every success story feels like a tragedy waiting to unfold. The men who rise too fast eventually crash harder than anyone else. And the women around them, tough, smart, unbreakable, carry their own kind of strength, trying to survive in a world built by power-hungry dreamers. The setting itself tells a story. The sun-baked Texas plains, the noise of oil rigs pounding the earth, the echo of boots walking through dust. Every frame feels alive. The cinematography doesn't just show wealth. It shows the cost of it. Black gold spills through pipelines, but it stains everything it touches: homes, hearts, and legacies. And just when the world feels stable, just when Tommy seems untouchable, the past comes knocking. A familiar voice, a shadow from another lifetime. The kind of presence that reminds him that the land he stands on was once someone else's, built by hands stronger and hearts truer than his own. That shadow is his father. So when Sam Elliott steps into this world, he doesn't just enter a show. He walks into a battlefield of pride, pain, and inheritance. He represents the old guard, the kind of man who worked the land before it became an industry. To him, oil wasn't business. It was sweat, struggle, and soul. The tension between Tommy and his father isn't just personal, it's symbolic. It's the clash between two Americas. One built on hard labor, the other on corporate greed. One believes in the land, the other in owning it. And in the middle of that collision stands Landman, a show that dares to ask, when the world starts digging for power, who gets buried first? Because in this story, every drop of oil costs something, and when Sam Elliott enters the frame, that cost is about to become personal. The sound of a pickup truck cuts through the silence. Gravel crunches beneath the tires. The wind carries the faint smell of oil and dust. Then, boots hit the ground. Slow, heavy, certain. A man steps out, hat low, voice like gravel on fire. That's when you know. The legend has arrived. Sam Elliott isn't playing a role here. He's embodying something bigger. The past itself has come home. For years, Landman built its story around power. Who controls the oil? Who owns the land? Who wins the fight? But with Sam Elliott's entrance, the show gains something it never had before. Soul. His presence isn't loud or flashy. It's the kind of energy that fills a room even when he says nothing. Because silence in his world is louder than words. Sam's character, Tommy's father, doesn't need an introduction within the story. The moment he appears, you can feel the weight of history pressing down. You can see it in Tommy's eyes. The shock, the anger, the confusion. The man he's become is standing face to face with the man he swore he'd never be. And in that single stare, there's a lifetime of stories unsaid. The beauty of this reveal is how it changes everything. Up until now, Tommy's drive was simple. Prove himself to a world that doubted him. But now he's forced to face the one person whose approval he's secretly been chasing all along. It's not about oil anymore. It's about blood. It's about legacy. It's about what's inherited and what's earned. Sam Elliott brings with him a cinematic gravity that only he can deliver. That deep, commanding voice has narrated generations of American stories, from cowboys to soldiers, from drifters to mentors. And now he carries that legacy into Landman. But this time, it's not the wide-open frontier he's protecting. It's a son he barely knows, and a world he no longer understands. His character is more than a father. He's a ghost of another time. A man who once believed that land was sacred, that hard work defined a man's worth. But Tommy's world is different. It's built on contracts, connections, and cold ambition. So when their paths collide, it's not just family tension. It's a war of values. Old America versus new America. Imagine the first scene they share. Tommy standing tall, expensive suit, a man who conquered the oil fields. And across from him, his father, worn boots, weathered face, pride still intact. The silence between them says it all. Tommy has money. His father has meaning. And deep down, they both envy what the other has lost. This casting isn't just about adding a star. It's about rewriting the emotional DNA of the show. Sam Elliott becomes the moral backbone, or maybe the ghost of one, that forces every character, especially Tommy, to question what success really costs. When he speaks, it won't be long speeches or poetic lines. It'll be short, piercing truths. The kind that hit harder than any argument. The kind that make Tommy, and the audience, stop and think. Because when Sam Elliott walks into Landman, he doesn't just play a father. He becomes the voice of the land itself. The one whispering, "You can own it, son, but you'll never control it." The air is thick before they even speak. Tommy stands in his office. Glass walls, steel furniture, the hum of oil rigs echoing in the distance. Everything he owns shines. Everything about him screams control. But the second his father steps in, that control cracks. It's not what the old man says. It's what he doesn't. His silence feels heavier than a confession. His presence sharper than a knife. For years, Tommy has carried a wound he pretends doesn't exist. The absence of the man who taught him nothing but left him everything to prove. He became the kind of man who doesn't ask for love, only respect. But deep down, respect has never been enough. And now, standing across from his father, that buried hunger starts to show. You can see it in the twitch of his jaw, the way his eyes flicker, between pride and pain. The father, played by Sam Elliott, doesn't arrive to apologize. That's not who he is. He's too proud for that, too weathered by years of survival to spill emotion easily. He looks around Tommy's office, seeing all the symbols of success, but none of the heart. The land outside may be his son's, but it doesn't belong to him. Not really. And with a quiet, steady voice, the kind that makes time slow down, he says something simple. You built yourself an empire, boy, but did you ever stop to ask what it cost? That line isn't just dialogue. It's a dagger. Tommy has spent his whole life chasing power because it's the only language he knows. But when that question lands, it cuts deeper than any rival could. It's not about oil. It's not about money. It's about legacy. What we inherit, what we destroy, and what we pretend doesn't haunt us. This moment shifts the tone of Landman. The father-son dynamic becomes the show's emotional backbone. Every argument between them feels like generations colliding. The father represents the world before greed became normal, when men took pride in earning the land, not exploiting it. Tommy, on the other hand, embodies modern ambition, cold, efficient, but hollow. Together, they are the same storm, just different winds. When they talk, it's never just about business. It's about blame. The son blames the father for leaving. The father blames the son for forgetting what matters. Their conversations are quiet wars, full of unspoken truths, half-finished apologies, and memories neither of them wants to touch. And yet, beneath all the anger, there's something unbreakable. Blood. You can see it in the smallest gestures. The way the father hesitates before leaving the room, or how Tommy avoids looking directly at him because it hurts too much. They're both fighting the same battle, just from opposite sides. Visually, the show turns these scenes into poetry. The camera lingers on their faces, the space between them, the silence that says everything words can't. The oil fields outside act like a living metaphor. Black. Rivers of ambition running through. A father and son who can't stop digging for meaning. The emotional fallout isn't loud. It's quiet, haunting, and real. It's the kind of pain that doesn't explode. It erodes, slowly, scene by scene, until you realize that this story isn't about who wins the oil war. It's about whether love can survive pride. Because in Landman, the greatest power struggle isn't over land or money. It's between a father's past and a son's future. And both are burning. The moment Paramount confirmed Sam Elliott's name in the Season 2 cast list, the internet didn't just react. It erupted. Within hours, hashtags like Landman season and Sam Elliott returns trended across platforms. Fans clipped scenes from 1883, paired them with Landman footage, and wrote captions like, "The cowboy is coming home." It wasn't just excitement, it was reverence. Because when Sam Elliott joins a story, people don't see an actor stepping onto a set. They see an icon returning to his natural habitat, the heart of American storytelling. Behind the scenes, whispers started spreading from the production lot in Fort Worth, Texas. Crew members described his arrival like a shift in the weather. When Sam walked in, one grip reportedly said, the whole set went quiet, not out of fear, but respect. The director even paused filming for a moment, letting the silence breathe, almost like the show itself was acknowledging the weight of what just happened. Elliott, true to form, didn't arrive with a grand speech or media fanfare. He came early, shook hands with everyone on set, and got to work. His first day of filming was said to involve a short, wordless scene. Just him standing outside an oil rig at dawn, hat in hand, watching the land breathe. No dialogue, just presence. That's what Sam Elliott does. He turns silence into scripture. The cast couldn't hide their excitement either. Billy Bob Thornton, who leads the series as Tommy, shared a brief post on social media. A photo of two chairs side by side, each marked with a name. Old blood meets new oil, the caption read. Fans lost their minds. The image became symbolic. Two generations of storytelling sitting shoulder to shoulder, ready to collide. And while the production team stayed tight-lipped about the details of Elliott's character, insiders teased that his storyline would shake the foundation of Tommy's world. That one phrase alone fueled hundreds of fan theories. Some believe his character was the original founder of the oil land Tommy now controls. Others think he might return to reveal that Tommy's success came from betrayal. A debt unpaid, a secret buried. Paramount's marketing department knows the gravity of what they've got. They released a short teaser, just 30 seconds long. It opened with the sound of wind, a faint hum of a pump jack, and a single line in Sam Elliott's voice. The land remembers even when men forget. That one line broke the internet. Thousands of fans commented that it gave them chills. Some even called it the most powerful line of the entire series, and the season hadn't even premiered yet. Behind closed doors, Showrunners reportedly restructured several storylines after securing Elliott's involvement. His performance didn't just fit into the narrative, it reshaped it. Writers adjusted dialogue, rewrote key confrontations, and even added flashbacks to explore the roots of Tommy's fractured family. The creative team understood one thing clearly. When you have Sam Elliott, you use him to carve emotional truth out of every scene. The excitement isn't just about seeing a legend on screen. It's about the promise of meaning. Fans are expecting more than action and oil feuds this season. They're expecting a story about fathers and sons, about guilt and redemption, about the ghosts that live inside the land. And with Elliott's name attached, expectations have never been higher. Because in an industry full of noise, Sam Elliott doesn't need to shout to make people listen. All he has to do is step into frame, and the whole world holds its breath. The land is quiet again. The oil pumps move like slow, tired beasts under a dying sun. The world of Landman feels older now, heavier, as if the soil itself remembers every lie, every deal, every drop of blood spilled for power. And somewhere in that silence, two men stand, father and son, staring at the horizon like it's a mirror reflecting everything they've lost. That's where Landman Season 2 is heading. Not just deeper into the oil fields, but deeper into the human heart. Because Sam Elliott's arrival doesn't just expand the story, it redefines it. It turns Landman from a show about business into a story about belonging. It's no longer just about who owns the land. It's about who deserves it. Tommy's father brings something the series has never had before. Moral gravity. He's not a hero. He's not a villain. He's the embodiment of consequence. The living reminder that every fortune comes with a ghost. When he looks at Tommy, he doesn't see a son to be proud of. He sees a reflection of his own ambition, magnified and corrupted by time. And Tommy, for all his pride, sees in his father what he'll one day become if he doesn't stop digging for something he can't name. As Season 2 unfolds, every glance, every silence between them will feel like thunder about to break. Fans aren't just waiting for dialogue. They're waiting for confrontation, for truth, for the one moment where the mask finally cracks. Because beneath all the oil and politics, Landman is about one question. Can two broken men find redemption in the same land that broke them? Off-screen, this storyline has already begun shaping the show's legacy. Critics predict that Elliott's performance could be career-defining. A late-stage role that captures the full weight of his filmography. The father figure of the American frontier now returns to ask what became of that frontier. What happened to the men who once built, loved, and protected it? His character isn't just Tommy's father. He's America's, the ghost of every value that's been traded for profit. The final scenes of the season, still shrouded in secrecy, are rumored to carry an emotional punch unlike anything Landman has done before. No explosions. No big shootouts. Just two men in the sound of the wind, standing where it all began. Maybe forgiveness won't come. Maybe it will. But one thing is certain. When Sam Elliott's character leaves the screen, he'll leave a silence that feels sacred. The legacy of Landman Season 2 won't just be in its drama or its performances. It'll be in its honesty. It's a story about fathers and sons, about the weight of inheritance, about how the land doesn't forget what men try to bury. So when the final credits roll, and Elliott's voice echoes one last time, that deep, steady tone cutting through the dust, you'll feel it in your bones. The land gives, son, but it always takes something back. That's not just dialogue. That's Landman's truth. A legacy written in oil, sealed in silence, and carried forever by the men